The air buzzed with music and laughter outside the red brick fraternity house. Tables lined the well-kept lawn, colorful banners announcing the charity event fluttering in the spring breeze. Malik Graves clutched his prototype case closer to his chest as he navigated through clusters of students, his shoulders tensed with each step deeper into territory that wasn't meant for him. He glanced briefly at his watch, knowing the professor's assistant would be waiting at the engineering display. Just get there, drop off the prototype, and leave. Simple enough. Well, look who decided to crash our party. The voice cut through the chatter, sharp and mocking. Malik kept walking, his grip tightening on the black case. Hey, scholarship boy, I'm talking to you. Beckett Hale stood with arms crossed, designer sunglasses pushed into perfectly styled hair. His fraternity brothers, Shane, Ryder, and Landon, flanked him like bodyguards, already snickering. Malik stopped. Getting through this quickly was better than making a scene. Just passing through, Malik said, his voice level. I need to drop this off at the engineering booth. Beckett's eyes narrowed. Passing through? This is a charity event for people who actually belong here. He looked Malik up and down with exaggerated disgust. Not for guys wearing $20 Walmart specials. Laughter rippled through the gathering crowd. Phones came up, ready to capture whatever happened next. Those shoes, though, Shane added, pointing at Malik's worn sneakers. Did you get those at a garage sale or straight from the garbage? More laughter followed. Malik felt his face burn with humiliation. Yet he kept his expression carefully neutral. The prototype in the case represented months of dedicated work, precision circuitry that could be ruined by rough handling. He couldn't risk it. I need to get this delivered, Malik said, stepping sideways. Beckett moved to block him. Did I say we were finished talking? Because I don't think I did. Across the lawn, Nia Powell emerged from between two parked cars, stopping short when she spotted the confrontation. Her face shifted from confusion to alarm as she quickened her pace toward them. You know, Beckett continued, circling Malik like a shark, my dad pays more in taxes than your entire family probably makes in a year. That's why people like you should watch where you're going when you're around people like me. He bumped hard against Malik's shoulder, jostling the case. Malik steadied the case, breathing slow and deep. The training from his grandfather echoed in his mind. Control the breath, control the body, control the reaction. Say excuse me, Beckett demanded, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. I didn't bump into you, Malik replied calmly. You bumped me. Landon's laugh seemed forced, his eyes darting between Beckett and the ground. Ryder cracked his knuckles, stepping closer. Wrong answer. Let's try again, Beckett said. Say excuse me, sir, like someone taught you some manners. Phones recorded everything now. Students gathered closer, forming a loose circle. A few alumni in blazers watched from near the fraternity house steps, drinks in hand. Malik tried once more to step around Beckett. I need to deliver this. Beckett stepped in front of him again, his face inches from Malik's. You don't move until I say you can move. Malik stood perfectly still. He could feel his heart pounding, but he kept his breathing steady. This wasn't fear. It was the discipline his grandfather had drilled into him since childhood, the same discipline that had earned him his scholarship, that had carried him through his years at a university where he had always been an outsider. Come on, man, someone called from the crowd. Let him through. Beckett's eyes flashed with anger at the interruption. He turned to the crowd with an exaggerated grin, playing to his audience. You guys want to see something funny? Before Malik could react, Beckett spun behind him, a strong arm locked around Malik's throat, pulling him back against Beckett's chest. The chokehold tightened, cutting off air. Say it now, Beckett laughed, tightening his grip. Excuse me, sir. Malik struggled to keep hold of the prototype case, while his free hand instinctively rose to Beckett's arm. The crowd's laughter mixed with a few uncomfortable murmurs. Shane howled with laughter, phone raised to capture everything. Ryder's meaty hands clapped in approval. That's how you handle trespassers, Beckett announced to his audience as Malik's vision began to blur at the edges. The pressure around Malik's throat tightened. His lungs burned for air. The prototype case slipped from his fingers and landed with a dull thud on the grass. Phones rose higher. Eager faces waited for Malik to beg, to struggle helplessly. Beckett's arm flexed, cutting off more air. Malik heard laughter through the blood rushing in his ears, but panic never came. Instead, a familiar calm washed over him, the same feeling he had known countless times on his grandfather's worn training mats. The world slowed down. Every sensation became crystal clear. Beckett's ragged breathing against his ear, the unbalanced way he leaned back on his heels, the small gap between Beckett's forearm and Malik's Adam's apple. Malik dropped his center of gravity, bending his knees slightly. With precise movements, his right hand shot up and locked onto Beckett's wrist, while his left hand grabbed the elbow. He tucked his chin, creating just enough space to breathe. What the? Beckett started, confused by the sudden change. Malik stepped across Beckett's body, twisting sharply as his grandfather had taught him thousands of times. The pressure released instantly as Malik broke free, spinning out of the chokehold in one fluid motion. Beckett stumbled forward, suddenly grasping at empty air. Before he could recover, Malik delivered a controlled elbow strike to Beckett's floating ribs, not to injure, just to stun. Beckett gasped, doubling over. "Stay down," Malik said quietly. But Beckett lunged forward with a wild swing. Malik sidestepped, swept his leg in a perfect arc, and Beckett crashed face first onto the manicured fraternity lawn. The fall was hard enough that the crowd winced. The stunned silence lasted only a brief moment. "You're dead," Ryder bellowed, charging forward like a bull. Behind him, Shane circled to Malik's right. Malik centered his weight, turned sideways to make himself a smaller target. His grandfather's voice echoed in his head. "Never use more force than necessary. Control yourself first, then control the situation." Ryder swung a massive fist aimed at Malik's head. Malik slipped the punch and countered with a sharp strike to Ryder's solar plexus. Not full power, just enough. Ryder's breath exploded out of him as he stumbled back, eyes wide with shock. Shane attacked from the side, thinking he had caught Malik off guard. Malik pivoted and delivered a precise low kick to Shane's outer thigh. The leg buckled immediately, a temporary dead leg, painful but harmless. Shane staggered, cursing. Ryder recovered enough to charge again, arms wide for a tackle. Malik stepped forward instead of back. Another lesson from his grandfather. Move toward danger with purpose, not away in fear. He met Ryder's charge with a palm heel strike to the center of his chest, redirecting the bigger man's momentum upward. Ryder's feet left the ground. Malik turned with the energy, converting it into a smooth throwing motion. Ryder sailed through the air and crashed into a folding lawn chair, collapsing it beneath his weight. The entire exchange unfolded in seconds. Where there had been laughter, now there was only shocked silence. Phones still recorded, but jaws hung open behind them. Several students backed away, creating distance. Across the lawn, Nia Powell pushed through the crowd just in time to see Ryder hit the ground. Her eyes widened, then narrowed with fierce pride as she recognized what had happened. Beckett struggled to his knees, face flushed crimson with rage and humiliation. Blood trickled from his nose where he had hit the grass. The perfect, untouchable fraternity prince looked small, suddenly diminished. You can't," Beckett sputtered, unable to form a coherent threat. Malik walked calmly to where his prototype case lay in the grass. The latch had broken open and one corner was cracked. Months of work damaged in seconds. He closed it carefully, securing it as best he could. When he straightened, the crowd parted before him like water. Nobody spoke. Nobody laughed. Some looked away, unable to meet his eyes. Malik paused in front of Beckett, who was still on his knees. Their eyes locked, Beckett's filled with hatred and shock. Malik's were steady and clear. Without a word, Malik turned and walked across the lawn toward the engineering building. Each step was measured and calm. His breathing remained controlled despite the adrenaline coursing through his body. The silence followed him all the way to the edge of the fraternity lawn, where Nia waited, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Minutes later, Malik and Nia left the fraternity lawn and crossed campus toward the engineering building. An angry red mark was forming around Malik's neck where Beckett's arm had dug in. His hands trembled slightly, adrenaline still coursing through his system. The prototype case hung at his side, a jagged crack running along one corner where it had hit the ground. "You okay?" Nia asked, eyeing the bruise forming on his neck. "I'm fine." Malik's voice was steady, but his jaw remained tight. "That was..." Nia shook her head. "I've known you for years and never seen you do anything like that." "Never needed to." Malik adjusted his grip on the damaged case. "My grandfather always said skill without restraint is just violence." They pushed through the double doors into the engineering building's main hall. The air conditioning hit them immediately, a sharp contrast to the humid spring air outside. "Years of training," Malik said quietly. "That's the first time I've used it outside the dojo." In the lab, Nia grabbed the first aid kit while Malik gently placed the damaged prototype on the workbench. The clear plastic case revealed the delicate sensor array inside, their team's entry for the sustainability grant competition. The corner crack hadn't reached the internal components, but the alignment was off. "Let me look at your neck," Nia said, opening an alcohol wipe. Malik waved her off. "The prototype first. I still need to meet Dr. Ellison's assistant shortly." "Your scholarship won't vanish if you're a little late," Nia argued, but handed him a small screwdriver instead of pushing further. As Malik carefully realigned the sensor array, their phones buzzed simultaneously, then again and again. "What the hell?" Nia pulled out her phone. Her expression darkened instantly. "Oh no." "What is it?" Malik looked up from the workbench. Nia turned her screen toward him. A video was playing, Malik throwing Beckett to the ground, then striking Shane and tossing Ryder into the chair. But something was wrong. The footage started after Beckett had already attacked. There was no chokehold, no taunting, no context, just Malik seemingly attacking 3 students without provocation. "Who posted this?" Malik's voice was quiet, dangerous. "It's everywhere." Nia scrolled through messages, Instagram, Twitter, the campus social page. "It's spreading like crazy." Malik's phone continued buzzing. He finally looked down at the notifications flooding his screen. "Did you see what Graves did? Scholarship kid just snapped. Always knew that guy was trouble." "This is edited," Malik said, his voice tight. "They cut out Beckett attacking me." Of course they did, Naya slammed her phone down. We need to post the real version right now. Nobody else was filming from our angle, Malik said. The crowd was behind Beckett. Nia paced the small lab. I'm going to blast these liars. Your scholarship, your reputation. That's exactly what I'm worried about. Malik closed his eyes briefly. If I fight this the wrong way, I lose everything I've worked for. So what, we just let them lie? Malik's phone pinged with a new notification, an email from Student Conduct. Mr. Graves, your presence is required at a disciplinary hearing regarding reports of aggressive behavior at today's charity event. Please prepare to discuss the incident. Malik showed the screen to Nia, her face flushed with anger. This is complete bullshit. A message notification appeared on Nia's phone from an unfamiliar number. I saw everything. The video going around is edited. I want to help. Eva Brooks, Campus Journal. Nia's eyes widened. Malik, look at this. He read the message, then looked up. Who's Eva Brooks? Journalism student. She's good, does investigative pieces for the campus paper. As Malik considered this unexpected lifeline, another message appeared under the first. I got most of it on video, including the chokehold. Hope flickered across Malik's face, quickly replaced by caution. Can we trust her? Before Nia could answer, the lab door opened. Dr. Ellison's graduate assistant poked his head in. Graves, you're late with the prototype. What happened to it? Technical issue, Malik said automatically. Give me a few more minutes. The door closed and Malik turned back to the damaged case. His fingers worked quickly despite the tremor still running through them. Text her back, he told Naya, but be careful what you say. We need to know what she has before we commit to anything. Across campus, Beckett sat on his bed in the fraternity house, ice pack held to his ribs, watching the view counter climb on the edited video. Comments poured in, each one building the narrative exactly as he wanted. Aggressive scholarship student attacks innocent fraternity members without provocation. Shane lounged in the doorway, nursing his bruised leg. It's blowing up, man. Thousands of views already. Beckett smiled, wincing slightly at the pain in his side. Send it to that guy your dad knows on the disciplinary board. Already did, Shane confirmed. Beckett scrolled through the comments, satisfaction washing over him. The humiliation he had felt lying in the dirt was transforming into something else, power. He had lost the physical fight, but this war would be won with different weapons. By the time the hearing happens, Beckett said, everyone on campus will know Malik Graves as the violent scholarship kid who doesn't belong here. The student conduct building stood like a stern judge at the edge of the academic quad, all clean lines and unforgiving angles. Malik straightened his tie and took a steadying breath. He had barely slept, spending the night fixing the prototype and rehearsing what to say. Nia squeezed his arm. Remember, just tell the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. Truth needs proof, Malik said quietly, and right now their proof is getting all the views. Eva Brooks sat on a nearby bench, textbooks spread across her lap, a notepad balanced on her knee. She glanced up briefly, making eye contact with Nia before returning to her pretend studying. They had exchanged messages the night before, but agreed to keep their distance in public. Miss Powell, I need to speak with Mr. Graves alone, said a crisp voice from the doorway. The conduct officer, Ms. Harrington, stood with a folder tucked under one arm. Her expression was already set in disapproval, 50-something with steel-rimmed glasses and a pearl necklace that spoke of old money. Nia squeezed Malik's arm one more time. I'll be right here. Inside the sterile office, Ms. Harrington gestured to a hardback chair positioned lower than her own, classic power move. Malik sat, keeping his back straight, hands resting calmly on his knees. Mr. Graves, she began, opening the folder, I've reviewed the video evidence of yesterday's incident. Would you care to explain your violent outburst at our charity event? Malik kept his voice steady. The video circulating online is edited, ma'am. It doesn't show Beckett Hale putting me in a chokehold first. It doesn't show him blocking my path or the comments he made. Miss Harrington's eyebrows lifted slightly. Comments? That's a serious accusation, Mr. Graves. So is assault, which is what Beckett did to me. She shuffled papers. The video I've seen shows you throwing Mr. Hale to the ground and striking his friends when they came to help him. They didn't come to help him, they came to help him hurt me. That's not how multiple witnesses described it. Which witnesses? Malik leaned forward, because there were dozens of people there who saw everything. We're not at liberty to disclose. A knock at the door interrupted them. Miss Harrington smiled thinly. Ah, that would be Mr. Hale. Beckett entered the room with theatrical caution. His right arm rested in a navy blue sling, a purplish smudge visible under his eye that hadn't been there the day before. Malik stared at the fake bruise, disbelief washing over him. Sorry I'm late, Beckett said, his voice dripping with false humility. It's been difficult to move around since the attack. Malik's jaw tightened. The bruise looked like makeup. The sling was completely unnecessary. Beckett had been using both arms fine in the video. Mr. Hale, thank you for coming, Ms. Harrington said warmly. How are you feeling? I'll be okay. Beckett's eyes found Malik's, a flash of smugness behind the victim act. The doctor says I need to wear the sling for at least a week. My teammates had to help me dress this morning. Malik fought to keep his expression neutral. Miss Harrington, Beckett wasn't injured yesterday. That bruise wasn't there when he attacked me. Attacked you? Beckett's voice rose in practiced indignation. I just asked why you were at our event and you went crazy. Your family has a major stake in the engineering competition next month, don't they? Malik said suddenly, watching Beckett's face. Ms. Harrington frowned. That's hardly relevant. It is relevant, Malik insisted. The Hale Foundation is co-sponsoring the grant that goes to the winning team. My team is favored to win, not Beckett's project. Beckett's fake, concerned expression slipped for just a second, showing real anger beneath. That's absurd. This has nothing to do with some stupid competition. But Malik had seen it, the flash of truth. You didn't randomly pick me to harass. You targeted me to get me disqualified. Ms. Harrington cleared her throat. Mr. Graves, these accusations won't help your situation. The university takes physical violence very seriously, especially given your background. My background? Your scholarship status requires exemplary conduct. Frankly, I'm concerned about your ability to control your temper. Outside the office, Eva had positioned herself closer to the door, straining to hear while pretending to highlight text. She caught fragments about the competition, the grant, and the Hale family's involvement. She scribbled furious notes, connecting dots that painted a much larger picture than a simple campus fight. Meanwhile, Nia approached two students who had been at the fraternity house the day before. They hurried away when they saw her coming. A third student, braver than the others, whispered, I saw what really happened, but I can't get involved. My dad works for Hale Industries. By the time Malik left the meeting, his face was a mask of controlled anger. The conduct officer had scheduled a formal hearing for the coming days and strongly suggested he stay away from campus events in the meantime. How bad? Nia asked when they were alone. Bad, Malik said. They're making it about my aggression, not his assault. And it's bigger than just Beckett being a jerk. This is about the competition. That evening, exhausted and frustrated, Malik trudged up the stairs to his third-floor dorm room. From 20 feet away, he could see something was wrong. As he got closer, his stomach dropped. The door was smeared with what looked like thick black grease and ugly streaks. A piece of paper had been taped to the center, bearing 5 words scrawled in the same greasy substance, Know your place. Later that evening, Malik stood outside his dorm room, scrubbing the greasy black mess from his door with a rag soaked in cleaning spray. His muscles ached from the effort, but each stroke felt like erasing Beckett's smirk. Nia paced the hallway, keeping watch for anyone who might try to catch Malik alone. This is straight-up harassment, Nia said, her voice tight with anger. We need to report this. Malik laughed without humor. To who? The same people who think I'm the problem? To me, for starters. They both turned to see Eva Brooks walking toward them, her messenger bag slung across her body, phone in hand. She nodded at Nia, then faced Malik directly. I've been working on something, Eva said, pulling out her phone. I was recording when everything started yesterday. Not the whole thing, but enough. She played a video that showed Beckett circling Malik, bumping his case and blocking his path. The audio was clear. What's a scholarship boy doing on our lawn? The video ended just as Beckett moved behind Malik. It cuts off before the chokehold, Eva admitted, but it proves he was harassing you, not the other way around. Malik's shoulders dropped slightly. It helps, but it won't be enough. I know. That's why I'm looking for more footage. Someone else must have recorded the whole thing. Nia studied Eva. Why are you helping? No offense, but most people are running the other direction. Because I've seen how the Hales operate, Eva said. My father worked for their company before they pushed him out. They bury people who get in their way, and I don't like bullies. Malik finished cleaning the last smear from his door. I appreciate it, but you should know what you're getting into. This isn't just some campus drama. I know exactly what it is, Eva replied. It's power protecting power. They moved into Malik's room where Naya kept watch by the window. Malik sat on his desk chair, tension visible in his shoulders. Can I ask something? Eva said. You clearly know how to defend yourself. Why keep it secret until yesterday? Malik was quiet for a moment. My grandfather started teaching me when I was 8. He always said karate wasn't about fighting. It was about discipline, respect, self-control. Sounds like a wise man, Eva said. He was. Malik's voice softened. He died my senior year of high school. Last thing he told me was to use what he taught me to build, not destroy. He looked up at Eva. And I've seen what happens when black men defend themselves. The world doesn't see discipline or self-defense. They see threat, danger, aggression. Eva nodded slowly. And that's exactly how they're spinning this. Malik's phone buzzed with a text. His face darkened as he read it. What is it? Naya asked. Carlos from my team. Someone broke into the engineering lab. Our prototype files have been tampered with. Nia was already grabbing her jacket. We need to go, now! The three of them hurried across campus to the engineering building. The lab was still unlocked with Malik's teammate Carlos inside looking panicked. I came to run some test protocols, Carlos explained, but the sensor array is completely messed up. Someone recalibrated everything and deleted the backup files. Malik examined the damage, his movements quick and precise. The main sensor unit, the heart of their project, had been physically damaged with several connections pulled loose and one chip cracked. This wasn't an accident, Malik said quietly. They knew exactly what to break. As they worked to assess the damage, a shadow appeared in the doorway. Landon Mercer stood there, shifting uncomfortably. Hey, he said, not quite meeting Malik's eyes. I heard about what happened with your project. Nia stepped between them. How exactly did you hear about that? Landon hesitated. Look, I just wanted to say Beckett's really pissed about yesterday. He's not done. That's all I came to tell you. Is that a threat? Eva asked, already recording with her phone. It's just information, Landon said, backing away. Do what you want with it. After he left, Malik, Nia, and Carlos worked through the night to repair what they could. Ava made calls to contacts, trying to track down anyone else who might have recorded the original incident. Near dawn, with the first hints of light creeping through the lab windows, Malik submitted a temporary repair plan to their faculty advisor. His eyes burned from exhaustion, but they had managed to salvage most of the critical components. His phone pinged with a new email. Malik opened it, then went completely still. What now? Naya asked. Malik handed her the phone. The email was from the engineering department chair. Suspension from competition under review. The next morning, after almost no sleep, Malik left the lab for class under a campus cloud of rumors, disciplinary pressure, and open hostility. The campus felt different now. Malik felt eyes tracking him as he crossed the quad toward his advanced materials class. Two girls who normally smiled at him suddenly found their phones fascinating as he passed. A guy from his freshman orientation group, someone he had helped with calculus the year before, crossed to the other side of the walkway. Just keep walking, Nia muttered beside him. She hadn't left his side since they had left the lab at dawn. Don't give them anything to talk about. But they were already talking. Snippets of conversation floated his way. Just snapped. Always the quiet ones. Could have killed him. The classroom wasn't any better. As Malik took his usual seat, students who normally sat nearby shifted to different desks. The empty chairs around him felt like a physical barrier, marking him as something contagious. Professor Langford paused beside his desk after lecture. Mr. Graves, a word. Malik nodded, already bracing himself. I've always considered you one of our department's finest, Langford said quietly. But this situation is concerning. The department can't afford further incidents. Professor, I was defending myself. Beckett Hale attacked me first. Langford's expression hardened slightly. That's not what the video showed. And regardless of how it started, escalation only makes things worse. For everyone, but especially for you. The message was clear. The burden was on Malik, not Beckett. The rules were different. Between classes, Nia walked with him like a bodyguard. Another one, she said, showing him her phone. Anonymous accounts kept posting in campus groups. Watch your back, Graves, and scholarship thugs don't belong here. This is insane, Malik said. How is Beckett getting away with this? Money talks, Nia replied, and the Hales have been talking to this school for generations. Across campus, Eva Brooks was hitting walls. She approached a student who had been standing near the front during the confrontation. I was there, the girl admitted. Beckett was being awful. He even told us beforehand he was going to make an example of that scholarship kid who thinks he's better than everyone. Eva started recording. Would you be willing to state that on record? The girl nodded, then glanced over Eva's shoulder. Her face changed. Actually, I think I remembered wrong. I wasn't that close. Eva turned to see one of Beckett's fraternity brothers watching them, smiling coldly. By afternoon, Malik noticed a campus security officer following at a distance, watching his movements while ignoring the group of fraternity members laughing loudly outside the student center. As he crossed the maintenance area behind the science building, a deep voice called out, They got you marked, don't they? A solidly built black man in his mid-20s was examining a broken sprinkler head. His campus grounds crew uniform read D. Boone. I'm sorry. The man straightened up. I've been watching. Security's been tailing you since lunch, but those frat boys can do whatever they want. His eyes moved to the fading bruise on Malik's throat. That looks like a chokehold mark, military or police technique. How did you... Darius Boone, 4 years Marines, I recognize the patterns. He lowered his voice. Listen carefully, document everything, keep your phone recording in your pocket. Don't go anywhere alone. And whatever you do, don't let them isolate you where there's no witnesses. Malik stared at him. Why are you helping me? Because I've seen this movie before. Darius returned to his work. They're setting you up, and they're counting on you having no proof when it happens. Across campus, Beckett held court on the library steps, his arm still in its unnecessary sling. He smiled and shook his head sadly when asked about the attack. I was just trying to welcome him to the event, Beckett said, voice dripping with false sincerity. I never expected him to react like that. Some people just can't handle the pressure of being here, you know. The social charm offensive was working. By late afternoon, professors were watching Malik with suspicion. Students whispered about anger issues and violent tendencies. The injustice felt like a physical weight on Malik's chest, making it hard to breathe. At dusk, needing to clear his head, Malik left the lab alone for fresh air. The evening air felt cool against his face as he walked toward the campus gardens. That's when he noticed them, Shane and Ryder following at a distance, trying to look casual but tracking his every move. Malik quickened his pace, cutting behind the maintenance building. The sun had nearly set, casting long shadows across the campus. He hoped to avoid a public confrontation, knowing anything could be twisted against him now. The service alley was empty, lined with dumpsters and utility doors. Quiet, maybe too quiet. He was halfway through when a figure stepped out from behind a recycling bin. Beckett, his fake sling was gone. "Looking for a shortcut scholarship, boy?" Beckett's voice echoed off the brick walls. Malik stopped, suddenly aware of footsteps behind him. He turned to see Shane and Ryder blocking the way he had come. The trap had closed. "I don't want trouble," Malik said, keeping his voice steady. Beckett laughed. "That's not what your little stunt on the lawn said." He stepped closer. "No phones recording now, no witnesses, just us having a conversation about respect." Malik shifted his weight slightly, centering himself. "Let me pass." "You embarrass me in front of everyone." Beckett's smile disappeared. "Do you know what my family contributes to this school? The buildings with our name on them? And you think you can just walk around like you belong here?" "I earned my place," Malik said. "You got a handout," Beckett spat. "And now you're going to learn what happens when you forget your place." He shoved Malik hard in the chest. "Come on, hit me. That's what you want to do, right?" Malik stood his ground. "Move aside." Beckett shoved him again, harder. "Hit me, tough guy. No audience now. Show me what you're really about." Malik tried to step around him, but Beckett blocked his path. "What's wrong? Scared without your little audience? Or maybe you're just remembering what happens to scholarship kids who cause problems?" Malik kept his hands at his sides, his grandfather's voice in his head. "Never strike first. Never fight in anger. Control defines the true warrior." "I think he needs some motivation," Beckett said with a nod. Before Malik could react, Ryder's thick arms wrapped around him from behind, pinning his elbows. Shane stepped in with a vicious punch to Malik's ribs that drove the air from his lungs. Pain exploded through his side. A second punch followed. Sometimes fighting back isn't a choice, his grandfather had also taught. It's a responsibility. Malik snapped his head backward, connecting with Ryder's nose. There was a crunch and a howl of pain. The grip loosened. Malik dropped his weight, twisted free, and immediately swept his leg in a low, powerful kick that connected with Shane's knee. Shane screamed as his leg buckled sideways. Malik pivoted and drove a straight punch into Shane's solar plexus. The bigger student doubled over, gasping. Ryder charged with blood streaming from his nose. Malik sidestepped and delivered a sharp ridge hand strike to Ryder's shoulder joint. The effect was immediate. Ryder's right arm went limp, nerve bundle temporarily deadened. "You crazy bastard!" Beckett swung wildly. Malik slipped the punch, grabbed Beckett's extended arm, and used his momentum to drive him face first into the brick wall. Beckett bounced off and fell to his knees, a gash opening above his eye. This wasn't the controlled demonstration from the lawn. This was survival, raw, desperate, necessary. Beckett struggled to his feet, blood trickling down his face. "You're dead, you hear me? Dead." Ryder tried to grab Malik with his good arm. Malik kicked his legs out from under him and sent him sprawling into a puddle. The fight had lasted less than half a minute. Malik's knuckles were scraped raw. His side throbbed where Shane had connected. He tasted blood from a split lip. None of them noticed the delivery van parked at the far end of the alley, its dash cam recording the entrance where most of the confrontation had played out. "Stay down," Malik warned, backing away. Beckett pulled himself up using the wall for support. His designer clothes were torn and dirty. "This isn't over," he snarled, wiping blood from his face. "Not even close. You have no idea what's coming." Malik turned and limped away, his breath coming in ragged bursts. His ribs ached with each inhale. The taste of copper filled his mouth. Behind him, Beckett's voice bounced off the alley walls. "You're finished at this school. My family will make sure of it." Malik kept walking, refusing to look back, refusing to show how much he hurt. But the truth hammered in his chest with each painful step. This was far from over, and the next attack might not be physical at all. Minutes later, Malik reached the campus clinic with Nia at his side. She hadn't stopped scolding him since finding him limping across the quad. "What were you thinking?" she hissed, holding the door open. "Going anywhere alone right now is just asking for trouble." Malik winced as he stepped into the fluorescent-lit waiting area. "I just needed some air." "And look what it got you." Nia's anger barely masked her worry. "Bruised ribs, a busted lip, what's next, Malik?" The clinic receptionist looked up as they approached. Before she could speak, the door swung open behind them. Eva rushed in slightly out of breath, her messenger bag bouncing against her hip. "I heard what happened," she said, eyes widening at the sight of Malik's bloodied lip. "Campus gossip travels fast. You okay?" "I've been better," Malik said, touching his side gingerly. The nurse called his name and Nia insisted on coming back with him. Eva waited in the lobby, already pulling out her notebook and scrolling through her phone contacts. In the exam room, the nurse cleaned Malik's split lip and examined his ribs. "Bruised, not broken," she concluded, pressing an ice pack against his side. "You'll be sore for a week or two." She handed him forms to document the injury. The line for cause of injury stared back at him. "You should report this," Nia urged. 3-on-1 in an alley is assault. Malik set the pen down. "And then what? My word against Beckett Hale's, against his father's money, against his uncle on the board?" The nurse pretended not to hear as she noted his vitals. Look what happened with the first video, he continued quietly. They'll twist this too, make me look like the aggressor again. When they returned to the waiting room 20 minutes later, Eva was bouncing on her toes with barely contained excitement. I've got something, she whispered once they were outside. Come on. She led them to a quiet corner of the student union. The late afternoon light slanted through the windows as she pulled out her laptop. I've been tracking down anyone who might have footage from either incident, Eva explained. Most people I've contacted are scared to get involved, but I found someone who might actually help us. She turned her screen to show a delivery company logo. There was a campus care delivery van parked near that service alley. The driver saw part of what happened. How did you even figure that out? Nia asked. Eva smiled. I checked the campus delivery schedule, then I called the company claiming to be from campus security looking for witnesses to vandalism in that area. That's impressive, Malik admitted. But here's the real breakthrough, Eva continued, her voice dropping lower. The same driver was making a delivery across from the fraternity house during the first incident. His dash cam was running the whole time. Malik straightened, wincing at the pain in his side. He has footage of the chokehold? I think so. I convinced him to meet me tomorrow morning. He's nervous about getting involved, but I promised we'd keep him anonymous. Nia grabbed Eva's arm. If he has the original footage, that changes everything. For the first time since the nightmare began, Malik felt a spark of hope. It would show Beckett attacked first. It would show I only defended myself. Exactly, Eva nodded. No edited clips, no selective angles, just what actually happened. The conduct hearing is in the coming days, Nia said. If we can get this footage before then. Malik leaned back, the ice pack still pressed to his ribs. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He might refuse when it comes down to it. Always planning for the worst, Nia shook her head. It's kept me alive so far, Malik replied. Eva closed her laptop. The driver seemed decent, said he didn't like what he saw happening to you. There are good people out there, Nia insisted. Not everyone is Beckett or his goons. The next morning, Eva texted them to meet at the campus coffee shop. She was already sitting with a middle-aged man in a delivery uniform when they arrived. This is Marcus, Eva introduced them. He's agreed to let us see the footage. Marcus nodded solemnly. What those boys did wasn't right. My son's your age. If someone did that to him... He pulled out a small flash drive. I made a copy. The company keeps these recordings for insurance purposes. Eva connected it to her laptop. The video showed the fraternity house from across the street. There was Malik walking across the lawn with his case, Beckett approaching with his friends, the circling, the taunting, the clear moment when Beckett locked Malik in a chokehold while others laughed. There it is, Nia whispered. Then the footage showed Malik's defensive moves exactly as they happened, controlled, necessary, and only after being attacked. This changes everything, Eva said. Marcus nodded. The alley footage isn't as clear, but it shows them following you in, shows them surrounding you before anything happened. That night in Malik's dorm room, the three of them watched both videos again. The unedited truth played out before them. Beckett's bullying, the chokehold, the alley ambush. Everything Beckett had lied about was now exposed. We've got him, Eva said quietly. Malik stared at the screen, watching his own face as Beckett choked him. The proof was there. The truth was there. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to believe he might win this fight. The following day, after a night spent organizing statements and copying files, Malik entered the disciplinary review room with Nia and Eva, carrying the strongest case they had had since the attack. Malik's heart hammered against his bruised ribs as they took their seats across from the conduct officer, Ms. Harrington, and two faculty observers. He straightened his tie, smoothed his button-down shirt, and took a slow, centering breath, just like his grandfather had taught him before tournaments. We appreciate you all being here today, Ms. Harrington began, her tone notably less accusatory than before. We'll hear both sides and review new evidence. When Beckett walked in with his arm still in that ridiculous sling, Malik kept his face neutral. Beckett's confident smirk faltered slightly upon seeing Nia and Eva flanking Malik. Ms. Harrington gestured toward Malik. You may present your side first. Eva stood and connected her laptop to the room's projector. Before we begin, I'd like to show unedited footage of the initial incident. The screen lit up with Marcus's dashcam footage. The image quality wasn't perfect, but it clearly showed Beckett approaching Malik, blocking his path, and finally locking him in a chokehold while others laughed and filmed. One of the faculty members, Dr. Langford from the science department, leaned forward, her brow furrowing as she watched Beckett's arms tighten around Malik's throat. As you can see, Eva continued, Malik was physically assaulted before taking any defensive action. Beckett's face darkened. That footage could be doctored, he snapped. It's from a delivery cam with timestamps and GPS coordinates, Eva replied calmly. Nia opened her laptop next. Regarding the damaged prototype, here's the access log showing Malik was in Professor Langford's lecture when the first file corruption occurred. She displayed a color-coded timeline, and these security cameras show he was with me in the cafeteria when someone entered the lab. Ms. Harrington frowned as she studied the evidence. The second faculty member, a balding man Malik didn't recognize, removed his glasses and pinched the bridge of his nose. Malik's phone buzzed. He discreetly checked it under the table. A text from Landon. I can confirm Beckett planned everything before the charity event. He said he would put the scholarship kid in his place. Will testify if needed. Malik passed the phone to Eva, who nodded slightly. We also have a witness willing to testify that this was premeditated, Eva added. Beckett's face flushed red. His lawyer-like composure cracked as he stood up. This is ridiculous. He attacked me in front of everyone. Ask my brothers. The ones who helped edit the videos? Naya challenged. Mr. Hale, please sit down, Miss Harrington ordered. For the first time since this nightmare began, Malik felt the scales tipping. Dr. Langford kept glancing between the footage and Beckett, her expression hardening. The balding faculty member was taking detailed notes. Even Ms. Harrington seemed unsettled by the chokehold video playing on loop. Malik allowed himself to imagine rejoining the competition. His team needed him. The prototype could still be fixed. His scholarship would be secure. Maybe he could even walk across campus without looking over his shoulder. I believe we've seen enough to reconsider the initial complaint, Dr. Langford said. The evidence clearly shows Mr. Graves defending himself after being assaulted. Ms. Harrington nodded reluctantly. It does appear the situation is more complicated than initially reported. Beckett's smooth facade completely crumbled. You can't possibly believe this. My father... Mr. Hale, Ms. Harrington cut him off sharply. Your father's position is not relevant to these proceedings. The room fell silent. Malik exchanged a look with Nia, a fragile hope blooming between them. Ms. Harrington shuffled some papers. Before we reach any conclusion, I should inform you all that new evidence has been submitted regarding a second altercation in the service alley behind the maintenance building. Beckett's rage transformed instantly into a cold smile. Given the serious nature of this new information, Ms. Harrington continued, we'll need to pause these proceedings to review it properly. What new evidence? Malik asked, his stomach dropping. Security footage, Ms. Harrington replied. I can't discuss it further at this time. The meeting ended abruptly. As they gathered their materials, Malik felt the brief window of hope closing. Whatever Beckett had planned, it was already in motion. Outside the office, Nia squeezed his arm. We're not done fighting. Eva nodded firmly. The truth is still the truth. Before Malik could respond, 2 campus security officers approached. Mr. Graves, we need you to come with us. What for? Nia demanded. Just routine questions, one officer said, not meeting Malik's eyes. As they escorted him away, Malik glanced back and saw Beckett watching from the doorway, his face a mask of cold satisfaction. The security officers led Malik into a small conference room with gray walls and a single window. Dean Rodriguez and Ms. Harrington sat at the table alongside a tech support staff member Malik didn't recognize. A laptop was open between them. Mr. Graves, please sit down, Dean Rodriguez said, his voice flat. Malik took the empty chair, his muscles tense. The security officers remained by the door. Ms. Harrington cleared her throat. We've received some troubling footage that contradicts your version of events in the service alley. She turned the laptop toward him. On screen, a grainy security camera video played. The angle showed only the mouth of the alley, catching Malik throwing Ryder against the wall and driving a palm strike into Shane's chest. The camera missed the critical first moments. Beckett's taunts, Ryder grabbing him from behind, the first punch to his ribs. This looks bad, Malik admitted, but it doesn't show how it started. They cornered me. They attacked first. That's not what we see here, Dean Rodriguez said. What we see is you assaulting 2 students with what appears to be trained fighting techniques. The delivery driver has video of the first attack, Malik insisted. His dashcam caught everything. Ms. Harrington looked down at her papers. We contacted him. He's unwilling to get involved. Says he might have been mistaken about what he saw. That's impossible, Malik said, his voice rising. Eva spoke to him. He confirmed. Mr. Martinez has withdrawn his statement, Ms. Harrington interrupted. He feels pressured and doesn't want trouble. Malik's phone buzzed. A text from Eva. My editor killed the story. Said the Hales called the journalism department. I'm so sorry. Before he could process this, Dean Rodriguez slid another folder across the table. We've also discovered something else during a routine technology audit. The tech specialist turned his laptop around. These files were found on a USB drive in your laptop bag in the engineering lab. They contain proprietary research data from another team's project. Malik stared at the screen in disbelief. That's not possible. I never took those files. Someone must have planted them. The access logs show your credentials, the tech specialist said. Anyone could have used my login if they had access to my bag, Malik argued. I never stole anything. Dean Rodriguez sighed heavily. Mr. Graves, given the seriousness of these allegations, both the physical assaults and academic misconduct, we have no choice but to suspend you from the engineering competition pending a full investigation. And your scholarship status will be under immediate review, Ms. Harrington added. The room seemed to tilt around Malik. This is wrong, he said. his voice barely above a whisper. All of it. You're free to appeal, but until this is resolved, you're restricted from the engineering facilities and competition activities. Dean Rodriguez closed his folder with finality. As Malik walked out, another text arrived from Nia. Landon disappeared, won't answer calls. What happened in there? Outside, Nia was waiting, pacing the hallway. Malik, what did they say? Everything, he said numbly. They took everything. She grabbed his arm. Tell me. He explained in short, broken sentences. The edited video, the missing witness, the planted files, the competition suspension, the scholarship review. They can't do this. Nia's voice echoed down the empty hallway. The files were planted. I know it. You were with me when those files were created. Doesn't matter. They made their decision before I walked in. Eva rushed toward them, her face flushed with anger. My editor caved, said we can't run stories that unfairly target campus leaders without absolute proof. So that's it? Malik asked. Beckett wins? No, Eva said firmly. I'm going independent. The campus paper isn't the only place to publish the truth. They walked Malik back to his dorm in silence. His ribs ached from the alley fight. The weight of the disciplinary papers in his bag felt like stones. You're staying with me tonight, Nia insisted. I don't trust them not to come after you again. I need to get some things first, Malik said. Inside his room, Malik moved mechanically, gathering clothes and his laptop. In the bottom drawer of his desk, wrapped in a black cloth, lay his grandfather's old black belt. The frayed edges had been worn smooth by years of training. He sat on the edge of his bed, holding it in the dark. They're trying to erase me, he whispered. Nia sat beside him, her shoulder touching his. They won't succeed. I did everything right, Malik said, his voice breaking. I kept my head down. I worked twice as hard. I avoided trouble, and none of it mattered. It matters, Eva said from the doorway. The truth always matters. I'm not done fighting. Malik ran his thumb over the stitched characters on the belt. His grandfather's voice echoed in his memory. Discipline is not submission. It's knowing when to stand. For the first time since the day at the fraternity house, Malik allowed himself to say what he had been denying. They were always going to try to erase me, no matter how careful I was. Early the next morning, after a sleepless night, Malik was packing his clothes into a duffel bag when someone pounded on his door, 3 hard, desperate knocks that made him freeze. He glanced at his phone. Nia was still asleep on his floor, having refused to leave him alone. Malik, open up, please. The voice was urgent, familiar, and terrified. Malik opened the door to find Landon Mercer standing there, his left eye swollen, lips split, and hands trembling. He looked over his shoulder before pushing past Malik into the room. I can't do this anymore, Landon said, his voice cracking. They're going to kill someone. Nia sat up, instantly alert. What are you doing here? Landon pulled out his phone with shaking hands. I recorded everything. Beckett's lost his mind. He placed the phone on Malik's desk. I should have come forward sooner, but I was scared. Malik studied Landon's bruised face. Beckett did that to you? When I said I wanted out, Landon touched his swollen eye. Said this was just a warning if I talked to anyone. Landon played the audio file. Beckett's voice filled the small room, slurred with alcohol but unmistakable. Nobody's gonna believe that quiet scholarship kid over me. My family practically owns the South Wing. Laughter followed. Did you see how easy it was to edit that video? Black kid attacks white frat boy. Story writes itself. Another voice, probably Shane's. What about the competition? Already handled, Beckett replied smugly. Data's on his drive now. Daddy's company needs that grant and nobody's taking it from us. Besides, people like him don't belong here anyway. Malik's jaw tightened as more voices laughed. And if that doesn't work, someone asked. Showcase day. Right back where it started. I'll make him snap in front of everyone that matters. My uncle says one more incident and he's gone for good. Landon stopped the recording. There's more. He planned everything. The edited videos, the ambush in the alley, the planted data. They had access to the lab because Ryder's cousin works campus security. Malik sat down heavily. Why now, Landon? Because I'm not who they think I am. Landon's voice was barely audible. My dad cleans offices at night. I'm here on the same scholarship as you. Beckett doesn't know. Nobody in the frat does. Nia called Eva, then Darius. Within half an hour, they had all gathered in Malik's room. Darius examined the bruises on Landon's face. Beckett's getting desperate. That means he's scared. He should be, Eva said, listening to the recording again. This proves everything, the edited videos, the sabotage, all of it. Campus administration won't move fast enough, Darius said, and they'll protect the Hale family first. So we bypass them completely, Eva decided. I've got contacts at 3 independent news sites. We release everything at once, the original videos, this audio, witness statements. Malik stared at his grandfather's black belt still on his desk. He wants me at the showcase, to provoke me, make me look dangerous again. Then we give him what he wants, Darius said, his voice calm and steady, but we control the ground. What do you mean? Nia asked. Stop reacting to his moves, start making him react to yours. Darius turned to Eva. Can you live stream? Through multiple channels? She nodded. I've got friends who will help. Landon, Darius continued, are you willing to stand up publicly? Landon swallowed hard but nodded. I'm done being afraid. Nia squeezed Malik's shoulder. We need to document everything. I'll get backup copies of our project data showing the timeline proves you couldn't have stolen anything. As they talked, Malik felt something shift inside him. The weight of isolation lifted. For weeks, he had been fighting alone against a system designed to crush him. Now he had allies, evidence, a plan. The showcase is tomorrow, Landon said. Same lawn, same brick house, all the donors, faculty, alumni. Beckett thinks it's the perfect trap. It will be, Malik said quietly, just not for me. By midday, they had formed a plan. Eva would position live streamers around the fraternity lawn. Nia would gather their engineering teammates as witnesses. Darius would ensure campus security couldn't interfere too quickly. Landon would bring evidence of the conspiracy. And Malik would meet Beckett exactly where this all began. But this time with the whole truth ready to break open. He thinks I'm running scared, Malik said, looking at his friends. Let's show him what happens when I stop running. The rest of the day was spent in motion. Malik, Nia, Eva, Landon, and Darius moved across campus like shadows with purpose, gathering evidence before word could spread that Landon had broken ranks. We need to move fast, Eva said, hunched over her laptop in the empty journalism lab. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, uploading files to 7 different secure servers. Once Beckett realizes Landon's talking, they'll try to shut everything down. Darius nodded, keeping watch at the door. That's why we're hitting from all sides at once. On the screen, the unedited footage from the fraternity lawn played silently. Beckett's arm locked around Malik's throat, the crowd's laughter, the precise moment when Malik broke free. Eva uploaded it alongside Landon's audio recording and a detailed timeline of events. There, she said, sending the final backup. Now, even if they come after my equipment, the truth is out there. Too many places to bury it all. Across campus, Nia sat in the engineering department server room with 2 trusted classmates who had witnessed the project's sabotage firsthand. Look at these access logs, she pointed to the screen. Malik was in advanced materials class when someone accessed his station. And here, she highlighted a line of code. Unauthorized login at 10:42 p.m., exactly when the stolen data was planted. Her teammate whistled. This is bulletproof, Nia. The timestamps don't lie. Neither do I, she said, copying everything to a flash drive, and neither does Malik. Meanwhile, Darius moved through campus with quiet efficiency, speaking to selected people who still believed in fairness, a veteran security officer who had watched Beckett harass other students, a faculty member who had questioned the disciplinary process, the head groundskeeper who had seen Beckett's group following Malik before the alley attack. I need you at the showcase, Darius told each one, not to intervene, just to witness. Stand where you can see everything. You're building a wall of witnesses, the security officer realized. I'm making sure the truth has enough eyes on it, Darius replied. While his friends secured evidence and allies, Malik retreated to an empty practice room in the student center. He pushed aside chairs, creating an open space on the worn carpet. For 20 minutes, he moved through the forms his grandfather had taught him since childhood, not fighting shadows, but reconnecting with the discipline that centered him. Power isn't in the strike, his grandfather had always said. It's in knowing exactly when to strike and when to wait. Malik practiced slipping holds, deflecting momentum, and ending confrontations with minimal force. These weren't moves for a spectacle or revenge, they were techniques for survival, for stopping violence quickly when it found you. As the sun began to set, Malik sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, breathing steady. He had spent weeks hoping someone in authority would see the truth and protect him. Now he understood what his grandfather had tried to tell him. Sometimes justice doesn't come from above, sometimes you have to stand in the open and force the world to witness. Landon texted, Beckett suspects something. He's watching my dorm. They're getting nervous, Eva said when they regrouped. Good. Nervous people make mistakes. Nia handed Malik a folder of evidence. Whatever happens at the showcase, the facts are documented. They can't disappear this time. The facts were always there, Malik said quietly, but tomorrow everybody sees them. Back in his room, Malik packed light for the morning, clean clothes, the evidence folder, his phone fully charged. From his drawer, he took out his grandfather's black belt, worn soft at the edges from years of training. Malik ran his fingers over the faded fabric, remembering his grandfather's hands tying it the day he earned it. Remember, the old man had said, this isn't about fighting, it's about standing your ground when the world tells you to move. As evening settled over campus, Malik tucked the black belt beneath his shirt, tying it around his waist like a private promise. Through his window, he could see the fraternity house in the distance, windows glowing amber against the darkening sky, the brick house where everything had started, the place where truth would finally break open. Outside the brick fraternity house, lanterns glowed warm against the evening sky. Donors in tailored blazers mingled with administrators, while student ambassadors served drinks from silver trays. A string quartet played near the manicured lawn where weeks earlier Beckett had locked his arm around Malik's throat. Today the grass was spotless, the walkways lined with flowers. The annual donor showcase represented everything the university wanted to project: excellence, tradition, and carefully maintained appearances. Malik approached from the campus path, dressed simply but neatly in a clean button-down shirt. The black belt remained hidden beneath it, a private reminder rather than a threat. Eva walked 20 paces behind him, her phone already recording in her pocket. Nia positioned herself near a cluster of engineering faculty, including the professor who had questioned the planted evidence. "He's here," someone whispered as Malik crossed onto fraternity property. Beckett stood near the center of the lawn, holding court with 3 board members. His arm was no longer in the fake sling, but he had maintained the story of injury with a subtle wrist brace for show. When he spotted Malik, his smile hardened at the edges. "Well, look who decided to crash another event," Beckett called out, loud enough for nearby conversations to pause. "Didn't learn your lesson about private property?" Malik stopped a respectful distance away. "This is a university function on university grounds. I have every right to be here." Several donors turned to watch. Dean Roderick Hale, Beckett's uncle, moved quickly toward them, sensing disruption. "You've been suspended from competition," Beckett continued, stepping closer. "Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't pulled your scholarship yet. Must be keeping you around for diversity numbers." Malik felt the familiar heat rise in his chest, but kept his breathing steady. Beckett wanted him angry, wanted him reckless. "Is there a problem here?" Dean Hale asked, placing a hand on Beckett's shoulder. "No problem," Malik said evenly. "Just attending a campus event." Beckett shrugged off his uncle's hand. "The problem is that some people don't understand when they're not wanted. Some people need to be reminded of their place." Across the lawn, Nia caught Malik's eye and nodded slightly. Eva had moved to higher ground near the house steps, her phone now visible and pointed their way. "My place?" Malik asked, allowing just enough edge into his voice to be heard by those nearby. "And where exactly do you think that is?" Beckett's smile widened. He was getting what he wanted, confrontation in front of witnesses. "Not here, not with your fake claims and your tampered evidence, not with your scholarship that should have gone to someone who actually belongs." Faculty members began drifting closer. Darius appeared at the edge of the gathering, watching silently. "You know what's impressive?" Beckett continued, voice rising. "How you keep showing up after being exposed. I guess your grandfather didn't teach you when to quit." Malik's jaw tightened. "Leave my grandfather out of this." "Why? The old man taught you to attack people and then play the victim, right? Some kind of strip mall karate philosophy?" Shane and Ryder appeared from different directions, moving to flank Malik. The trap was closing, just as Landon had warned. "One more chance," Malik said quietly. "Walk away." Beckett stepped closer, close enough that only those nearby could hear his next words. "Your grandfather was probably just as pathetic as you are, a nobody teaching another nobody how to pretend he matters." Malik's hands remained unclenched at his sides. "My grandfather was a better man than you'll ever be." "Your grandfather?" Beckett's voice dripped with contempt. "You don't get to talk about him." Malik's voice was steel wrapped in velvet. "You don't get to talk about him." Beckett's face flushed red. This wasn't working as planned. Malik wasn't swinging, wasn't losing control. So Beckett shoved him hard in the chest, sending Malik back a step. "What are you going to do about it?" Beckett challenged. "Hit me again. Show everyone what you really are." The crowd had fully noticed now. Phones rose. Eva's stream continued uninterrupted. "I don't need to hit you," Malik said. "I just need everyone to see you." Fury distorted Beckett's face. His plan was crumbling, Malik standing calm while he grew visibly unhinged. "You smug." Beckett swung wildly, a looping punch aimed at Malik's jaw. Malik slipped it with minimal movement, pivoting slightly as the fist passed his cheek. Shane lunged from the side, grabbing for Malik's arm, but Malik checked the hold with a sharp forearm block and drove a short, controlled strike to Shane's solar plexus. Shane folded, gasping. "Security!" Dean Hale shouted, but made no move to stop his nephew. The polished event had shattered into chaos. Donors backed away. Students watched wide-eyed as the narrative they had been fed collapsed in real time. Beckett's rage consumed him. "Get him!" he roared to his remaining friends. "All of you, now!" Shane and 3 more fraternity brothers surged forward together as Beckett regrouped for another attack, and the showcase lawn erupted into the fight that would finally expose everything. The crowd scattered backward as Beckett and his friends converged on Malik. Alumni gasped, donors retreated, and faculty froze in confusion, 4 against 1 on the same patch of grass where everything had started days ago. "Hold him down!" Beckett shouted, his face twisted with fury. Shane lunged first, telegraphing a wild haymaker. Malik's body shifted smoothly, weight balanced on the balls of his feet. He slipped the punch by inches and pivoted, driving a reverse punch deep into Shane's floating ribs. The impact made a dull thud. Shane's breath exploded from his lungs as he staggered sideways, eyes wide with shock. Ryder charged like a bull, aiming to tackle Malik to the ground. Malik dropped his center of gravity and met the charge with a raised knee, stopping Ryder's momentum cold. In one fluid motion, he gripped Ryder's shirt, turned his hip, and used the bigger man's forward energy to fling him into a nearby brick planter. Ryder crashed into the flowers with a yelp, soil and petunias exploding around him. "Get his arms!" the 4th fraternity brother shouted, circling behind Malik. Malik tracked him with peripheral vision, keeping Beckett in sight. The fourth attacker lunged, wrapping his arms around Malik's torso from behind. Malik didn't panic. He dropped weight, drove a sharp elbow back into the man's ribs, then executed a spinning hip turn that broke the hold and sent the attacker stumbling. "You're done!" Beckett screamed, saliva flying from his mouth. His eyes were wild with hatred and humiliation. Beckett moved in from the side, arm extending from Malik's throat. The same chokehold he had used the first day. The symmetry was perfect. The same move, the same location, different outcome. Malik's response was instant. His hand shot up, gripping Beckett's wrist before the choke could set. He twisted sharply while stepping across Beckett's stance, breaking the hold and destroying his balance in one motion. Beckett's arm bent at an awkward angle as Malik pivoted and threw him hard onto the manicured grass. The impact knocked the wind from Beckett's lungs. He lay there gasping while Malik pinned him with minimal pressure, just enough to keep him down. "This is what really happened," Malik said, voice clear enough for nearby phones to catch, "both times." Eva's voice cut through the commotion. "It's all going live right now." She stood with her phone held high, broadcasting everything. The unedited footage from the first attack, Beckett's audio confessing to the setup, everything. Across the lawn, phones buzzed and chimed as notifications poured in. Students who had turned against Malik now watched in shock as the original video played. Beckett choking Malik while laughing, the crowd joining in, the careful editing that had followed. "The university server logs," Nia announced loudly, holding up her tablet for faculty to see, showing exactly when and how the engineering data was planted on Malik's device. Time-stamped proof that Malik was in class when the files were accessed. Landon stood with them now, no longer hiding. "I heard Beckett plan the whole thing. He wanted to ruin Malik's chances at the engineering competition. He's on tape bragging about it." Campus security officers pushed through the stunned crowd, followed by actual police officers Darius had quietly arranged to be present. The truth was spreading faster than anyone could contain it. "That's him," one officer said, pointing at Beckett. "Assault and conspiracy charges." Beckett thrashed under Malik's hold. "Do you know who my father is? My uncle runs this school." "Not anymore," Eva called out, holding up her phone. "Dean Hale's resignation is already trending. Board members are distancing themselves." The security officers pulled Beckett to his feet. His face was streaked with grass and spittle, his designer clothes stained. Shane and Ryder were being detained nearby, their fake confidence replaced by genuine fear. "This isn't over," Beckett shouted as he was led away. "My family will—" "Your family can't edit reality anymore," Malik said quietly. The crowd that had once laughed at Malik's humiliation now stood in silent witness to something else. Justice happening in real time, unstoppable in public. Every phone on the lawn lit up with notifications as the truth spread across campus and beyond. Later that night, after statements were taken and the crowd thinned, campus officials were forced to respond publicly because the evidence had already spread too far to suppress. The university president called an emergency press conference on the main steps of the administration building. Floodlights illuminated the scene as reporters and students gathered, many still watching the viral footage on their phones. "In light of overwhelming evidence that has come to our attention tonight," the president announced, her voice tight with controlled emotion, "the university is taking immediate action regarding several serious incidents." Malik stood at the back with Nia, Eva, and Darius. His body ached from the fight, but his eyes were clear and focused. For the first time in days, he stood without the weight of lies crushing him down. "Beckett Hale has been arrested on charges of assault, conspiracy, and evidence tampering," the president continued. Several gasps rose from donors who hadn't yet seen the footage. Two other students, Shane Ransom and Ryder Velez, have also been taken into custody for their participation in these attacks. Police cars with flashing lights remained parked near the fraternity house, their red and blue pulses sweeping across the brick facade where everything had started. "The fraternity chapter is suspended immediately," the president added, "pending a formal investigation that will likely lead to permanent closure. Their charter privileges are revoked as of this hour." Dean Roderick Hale was noticeably absent from the row of administrators. The president addressed this directly. "Board member Roderick Hale has been removed from all disciplinary and review processes, effective immediately following evidence of inappropriate donor interference in student matters." Eva's laptop glowed as she continued documenting everything. Her story had already been picked up by 3 major news outlets. "The cover-up becomes the bigger story," she whispered to Malik. "Always does." The president's voice grew strained as she continued. "Furthermore, all disciplinary actions against Malik Graves are hereby rescinded. His academic standing is fully restored." She paused before adding, "The university deeply regrets the mishandling of the situation." Nia squeezed Malik's arm. "That's administration speak for we're terrified of the lawsuit we deserve." After the press conference, the engineering department chair approached Malik directly. "Your team's position in the competition is reinstated with our apologies," she said, looking genuinely shaken. "The false evidence has been removed from your record." She handed Malik an official letter. Your scholarship status has been protected and extended with additional funding for your graduate studies, should you choose to continue here. A tall woman in a tailored suit stepped forward next. She handed Malik her business card, the logo of a major tech firm catching the light. I'm a recruiter from Meridian Engineering. We've been watching your project development with interest, but I'm even more impressed with how you've handled yourself under extraordinary pressure. Her smile was genuine. We'd like to talk about your future plans when you're ready. The night stretched into early morning as statements were formalized and evidence secured. Campus security officers who had once followed Malik now stood at respectful attention as he passed. Students who had whispered about him now looked away in shame. Landon approached cautiously, still nervous but relieved. I should have come forward sooner, he said. I'm sorry. You came through when it counted, Malik answered quietly. As the sky began to lighten toward dawn, Malik walked with Nia, Eva, and Darius past the brick fraternity house. Yellow police tape marked the perimeter where Beckett had tried to destroy him. Students heading to early classes stopped to let them pass, many nodding with newfound respect. Nobody's laughing now, Darius observed, his steady gaze taking in the changed landscape. Eva pointed to her phone. Your grandfather's philosophy is trending. People are sharing his quote about discipline and strength. Nia slipped her hand into Malik's. How does it feel? Malik looked at the brick house where his humiliation had begun and his vindication had ended. He touched the black belt hidden beneath his shirt. It feels like him, Malik said simply. It feels like justice. The rising sun caught the edge of the fraternity's brick facade, illuminating the spot where Malik had first been attacked, but no one laughed this time. Everyone saw who he really was.